Now let's see.
Beautiful.
Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
No. Thanks so
So
much, everybody, for
sorry.
waiting.
I
Okay, here we
re
go.
I really appreciate your patience. You're seeing this
Yeah,
all live and in person. Okay.
off we
So,
go.
so I saw this a while ago, and it really struck me because this is exactly how I felt when I finally decided to take care of, what was happening to me. I ended up having candida and parasites, and I was quite sick with it. And I had been to the doctor, and they had done blood tests and stool tests, and they really couldn't find anything. And finally, the doctor said to me, I think you've got IBS and you might want to go see a psychiatrist. And I was quite upset when I heard that because it was basically, it felt like he was telling me it was all in my head. So I went to a homeopath and she actually did some biofeedback on me and she found I had 5 parasites and I also had candida. So that's when I decided to start taking matters into my own hands. So when I read this, I thought, this is so true. So I found that every single successful person that I've ever spoken to had a turning point, and that turning point was where they made a clear, specific, unequivocal decision that they were not going to live like this anymore. Some people make that decision at 15, some people make it at 50, and most never make it at all. So I'm sure that some of you are here today that you finally got to that point when you're like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to figure out, can cleansing help maybe with the situation I'm dealing with, or do I have poor gut health and could there be a way that I could try to make it better? So, kudos for you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can give you some really good information that can help you and your health. So, is this familiar to a lot of you? You've got to-do lists that are a mile long. You've got long working hours, or you're eating nutrient depleted foods. Now, if you're eating, the good thing is that if you're at Nature's Fair, you're eating really good quality food and you don't even have to read any labels in the produce section because it's all organic, which is fantastic. But in most stores, you don't really have that luxury. So it's really good that you guys have this option. A lot of people eat breakfast on the go, and unfortunately, it looks like this. Then we've got pollution and dehydration, which can be an issue. It really takes a toll on our bodies. And pollution, I'm in Toronto, so I really am exposed to a lot more pollution than, let's say, you wonderful folks that get to live in the Okanagan. And then, of course, dehydration. We know that, most of our body, or a lot of our body, is made up of water. But what type of things are we putting into our bodies? Are we drinking more coffee? Maybe we're drinking alcohol. Those things can actually make dehydration worse. So we should be drinking more, pure water, things, vegetables that contain lots of water. So it's not just drinking water every day. It's also eating foods that can hydrate you as well. And of course, when we're talking about dehydration, too much alcohol, not only does it dehydrate you, it can cause so many other issues and other toxic load in your body, and your poor liver has to deal with it. And insomnia is a big problem too. A lot of our rest and repair when we're sleeping, a lot of things happen when we're sleeping. So it's really important that we're getting between 7 and 8 hours. Well, actually, it's probably between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. But a lot of people might not be getting that and dealing with insomnia. And of course, a lot of us are always plugged in. And that's one of the things that I've personally done for myself, is to try to take the time away from my electronics, whether it's my computer or my phone, and really be present with my cat. You've seen my cat 10 times already, but with my cat, with my partner, and they both really appreciate the fact that I'll put things down and pay attention to them. And of course, processed foods, they have a lot of hidden chemicals, a lot of, like, sometimes we'll see added, additives, preservatives, colors, flavorings, things that our bodies might not recognize and might not be able to handle very well. And of course, beauty chemicals, that industry is not regulated. So there is a lot of chemicals in the beauty products that we might be using every day. And again, hopefully you're shopping in a place like Nature's Fair, you're not going to be finding a lot of products that have those nasty chemicals in them. I remember when I was in school, my teacher saying, if you can't pronounce it, it shouldn't be on or in your body. And it's kind of true. So I'll pick on women for a second. Think of the things that we do daily. We'll take a shower, we'll put body wash on it, shampoo, conditioner, then we get out, we might put lotion on, then we're putting stuff on our face, we're putting cream on our face, then we're going to put makeup on, the things we put on our hair, and that's before we've walked out of the bathroom every morning. So there's a great website that I like to refer to, the Skin Deep database by Environmental Working Group, and it can show what's in your beauty products, but also like in your lotions and your shampoos and your conditioners. Now, it is a US website, so not every Canadian product is on there, but there's quite a few that are on there. But I think you can even put in like a chemical name, like if you see it on the label of your product, go onto that website and look up that chemical and see, whether it's actually a good thing or a bad thing for you. And I think you'd be quite surprised at how much stuff is in products that shouldn't be in our bodies. And of course, household chemicals too. I mean, that is just a chemical nightmare sometimes. So, when you're looking at things to use in your home, look at more natural solutions. I think almost everything we do in our home is vinegar and baking soda, which is easy and it's cheap too. So this is how we ought to be living. So living, connected with our family, connected with the earth, growing our food if we can. This is how we should be living. And unfortunately, it looks a little bit more like this. So we're disconnected from each other. The kid is eating, I think he's eating either a chicken or she's eating she's eating a cookie actually. Like we're not really connecting in and even go to a restaurant, and it's a really good example. Like you go to a restaurant and people are looking at their phones instead of looking at each other or experiencing and enjoying the meal that they're eating. So hopefully we can try to get away from this scenario. So the question isn't whether you are toxic, it's how toxic are you? So whether we eat it, breathe it, or drink it, we are exposed to toxins on a regular basis. So there's two ways toxicity occurs. Endotoxins come from within the body. So we've got digestive toxins, and they're natural byproducts of when we break down our food. But if we don't break down our food and we have impaired digestion, then that can lead to other issues. So we have these digestive toxins, candida and parasites, which I was mentioning that I had. Not only are you dealing with the actual organism within your body, but you're dealing with their waste and their byproducts as well. Which can lead to things like chronic disease. So if you don't have good digestion, it can lead to a lot of other problems, things like constipation even. And then, of course, leaky gut. That's when you've got holes in your intestinal tract, and that can lead to a whole host of other problems. But I'll get to that one later in the presentation. But then there's also the environmental toxins. These are exotoxins. These come from outside our bodies. And these are the ones I think that most people are familiar with. So you've got your chemical toxins, your plastics and xenoestrogens. And xenoestrogens, think of them as fake estrogens. So they take the place of real estrogen. And of course, then we end up with too much estrogen in our bodies. And those can come from plastics, fragrances, phthalates, those types of things. So we want to stay away from those as much as possible. Air pollution, heavy metals, and water pollution and chemical toxins. So there's quite a few that can come from the outside. Now, we do have 7 channels of elimination that the body uses to get rid of waste. So the liver will change and detoxify harmful toxins into substances that can be safely eliminated from the body. The lungs, we breathe out carbon dioxide, breathe in good oxygen. Colon can get rid of waste from the intestinal tract. Kidneys, they break down waste so that they can be released through the bladder. Your skin, not only does it take in toxins by putting toxic things on your skin, but you also release toxins through your skin as well. Blood, of course, goes through your entire body, and your lymphatic system. So the blood uses the heart as a pump, but the lymphatic system doesn't have that. It needs movement to be able to move through the body. So exercise is really important to get the lymphatic system going. Now, this is a really great slide. I love this one because it really shows exactly the process of detoxification and elimination. So toxins can enter through your lungs, your skin, as well as your intestinal tract. And everything, whether you eat it, breathe it, drink it, put it on your body, every single thing gets processed through the liver. It does over 500 functions in the body. It's a very hardworking organ. But let's say it needs to go through the skin, the kidneys, colon, and lungs. That's how it exits through the body. But let's say that doesn't happen properly. Excess toxins get stored in either your fat cells, the fat soluble toxins that get stored in your fat cells, bone marrow, liver, and central nervous system. And the water soluble toxins will hang out in the joints, the blood, the tissues, and the muscles. So you can see that if things aren't working effectively, then that's when things can start happening. So our bodies detoxify on their own every single day. When you go to bed at night, that's when a lot of this stuff is happening. And then when you wake up in the morning, you have a good bowel movement, you urinate, you get rid of a lot of these things. But it's when these organs of elimination, like the liver, lungs, colon, kidney, skin, blood, lymphatic system, when they start to slow down, when they start to get overloaded with toxins, that's when the problems occur. So it's a good idea to support your detoxification channels on a regular basis. So here are some symptoms that you might be dealing with toxic overload. So things like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome. There's a lot of evidence showing that there's a connection between that and things and leaky gut, which is when you have holes in your intestinal tract. Allergies and sinus congestion. If you're someone that's constantly clearing your throat, or you always seem to have a congestion and you always have sinus issues, chances are you could be dealing with an overgrowth of yeast, which is candida. That's something I had. So I'm acutely aware of some of this stuff. Food sensitivity. So we know a lot of the big ones is the wheat and the dairy. Every time you eat it, you deal with the symptoms. Maybe it's you get an upset stomach, maybe you get a stuffy nose, maybe you break out in a rash. Headaches and brain fog. Every time someone tells me that they're getting headaches on a fairly regular basis, one of the first things that I would look into then is, how is their liver functioning? I'd start asking other questions that might lead me to determine whether they might be dealing with overload with their liver. Brain fog could be, again, related to things like candida. Candida has a lot of different symptoms in your body, and one of the big ones is brain fog. You get sugar cravings. You can't remember things. There's quite a long list. If anybody's dealt with candida before, I'm sure they're nodding their heads. Mood changes, weight gain. Unfortunately, having toxins in your body works against you. So I find that a lot of people, when they do a cleanse, one of the natural byproducts that they find is, especially the first time they ever do a cleanse, they might lose weight. It's not necessarily weight loss, it could be waste loss. So it could be the undigested fecal matter that's in their colon, or it could be the excess water that they're holding in their bodies. So when they do a cleanse, it helps them get rid of these things. But the weight gain, a lot of people, I find that they've done everything. They go to the gym, they're eating right, and they're just hit this plateau. And one of the things I find historically when I've been working with people is that they do notice that it helps to jumpstart things again. It gets their metabolism revved up. And in the the presence of toxins, your body slows down your metabolism. It doesn't want those toxins moving around so much, so it slows things down a bit. So I can't guarantee that you're going to lose weight, but it has been a lot. I've had a lot of feedback on that. IBS and digestive issues, pain and inflammation, cardiovascular disease and respiratory problems, candida and parasites we talked about before. And then, of course, just symptoms of hormone symptoms. And I know this is a picture of a woman here because it was just the best one to kind of show all the symptoms in one slide. But men are really showing a lot of hormonal symptoms too. And a lot of it is because they are getting estrogens in their body that aren't supposed to be there. And it's because of all of the fragrances and the plastics and all these things that we're exposed to on a regular basis. Men are starting to be exposed to these things, and they're getting in their bodies, and their bodies just don't really know what to do with it. So they're getting some of these symptoms. So herbal cleanses may help your body's natural toxin erase removal process, and they help to support digestive health and regular elimination. So cleansing is simply another way to help your body stay healthy, like eating right and exercising. And I have a lot of people ask me, how often should I cleanse a year? Right about the beginning of the year is a very popular time because people make those New Year's resolutions. Like, this is the year I'm going to do it. This is the year I'm going to be healthy and I'm going to dry a cleanse. And so that's a popular time. But spring and fall tends to be the best time for a cleanse. And when you think of when our ancestors did it, it was usually the spring or fall. And if you even like watch squirrels. So I have squirrels that live around me, and they are always eating black walnut hulls before the winter. And I wonder, after watching them and after knowing what black walnut does, I wonder if they don't like just instinctively know to eat that to get rid of the parasites before they start going into the slower hibernation mode type of thing. But spring and fall tends to be the best time to do a cleanse. So here's how cleansing kits may help. It helps to increase bile production in the liver, increases peristalsis, which is the natural muscular movement of the colon, as well as hydration of the colon. It helps increase urine output. It increases blood and lymphatic circulation. It helps mucus discharge from the lungs, and then it decreases pathogens as well as candida and parasites. So there's traditional herbs that help support a full body cleanse. So there's alterative herbs which change it kind of changes the blood a little bit. So these just help your body to get these toxins out. So there's red clover flower, burdock root, dandelion, milk thistle, stinging nettle, mullein, and turmeric. Now the great thing about the Renew Life cleanses is that it includes all of these together. So you don't need to buy all of these things separate. We've put it all together, and it's very convenient and easy to take. Now there's key liver and kidney herbs that are specific to those two because the liver and kidneys are largely responsible for filtering the blood and pulling out or neutralizing toxins in circulation. So they tend to be very hardworking. So you've got liver herbs like milk thistle, artichoke, bubblerum, dandelion, burdock, and turmeric, and kidney herbs like corn silk, red clover, dandelion, and stinging nettle. Now, the cool thing about this is that a lot of this stuff we can eat and get into our diet on a fairly regular basis. As a registered holistic nutritionist, I believe that we should be getting a lot of the stuff that we need from our food as much as possible, but you can't always do that. And it's certainly a lot easier to do it through a cleanse. Now, there are key gastrointestinal herbs as well. So there's herbs that help support motility and elimination. So help keep things moving through the intestinal tract. So those would be things like Chinese rhubarb root, Cape aloe leaf, and triphala. But then there's herbs that help soothe the intestinal environment. And that would be slippery elm, marshmallow, ginger root, as well as fennel. So at Renew Life, we've been in Canada since 2002, and we've got cleanses, we've got fibers, essential fatty acids, we've got probiotics, digestive enzymes, and then we have additional digestive support as well. And since 2003, Renew Life has won over 109 Alive Awards voted on by both consumers and retailers. So we've got a lot of great feedback on all of our products. We are quality, purity, and potency guaranteed right through expiry. And for each Renew Life formulation, a finished product specification is created, and it outlines all testing requirements specific to the formulation. So this includes microtesting, heavy metal testing, pesticide testing and residual solvent testing, allergen testing, as well as any medicinal ingredients for assay testing. So the first one I want to talk about is Cleanse Smart. This by far is our most popular cleanse. And this one, I think of all the products we have out there, it's probably the one that's won the most awards. So it's 2 parts. It's a 30-day advanced herbal cleanse, and it's designed to reduce the toxic load in your body and relieve occasional constipation. So it's specifically formulated to cleanse and detoxify the entire body with added focus on the liver and the colon. So as I mentioned, liver, lungs, colon, kidneys, skin, blood, lymphatic system. It works on all of those 7 organs of elimination, but a little more focus on both the liver and the colon because those are the big organs that help to get rid of things from the body. So part 1 and part 2, they're both vegetable capsules. So part 1, you take 1 capsule in the morning and then 1 capsule midday. And then part 2, you take 2 capsules in the evening before you go to bed. So the first part is the one that works on the liver, lungs, kidneys, skin, blood, lymphatic system. So it's working on the body. Part 2 is the one that works on the colon. So it helps relieve occasional constipation and promotes healthy bowel movements. So that's the part that uses magnesium hydroxide, which draws water from the body into the colon, cabala leaf, Chinese rhubarb root, and triphala. So this kit has all of those ingredients that I had just talked about on the previous slides. So it's easy to take. I always recommend to take it at half strength for the first few days, just to ease your body into it, increase your water, and increase your fiber. Those 3 things are going to help to reduce any chances of getting what are called cleansing reactions. And cleansing reactions might feel like you might get like mild flu-like symptoms or you might get headaches. This is natural. So think of the example I always use is imagine if you had to get up really early for a flight or something. And you know when you wake up and you feel kind of icky, you feel kind of sick, you don't feel great, that is because you're literally interrupting your body during its natural cleansing cycle. That's a cleansing reaction. The same thing may occur. I'm not saying it will, and hopefully it won't. It usually happens if you're very toxic or you detoxify too quickly. So that's why I always tell people, just start off gently, easy. I usually tell people start off on a Thursday because Friday, maybe you're starting to feel a little symptoms. Saturday, Sunday, you can relax a bit depending on what your weekend looks like. Pick the days where you're going to be able to relax a little bit more for the first few days, just to kind of ease your body into it. And then chances are you're not even going to notice, too many big things. Maybe you'll notice that you're going to the bathroom more often. You'll notice that you have more energy. You might notice that you're sleeping better. So these are all positive things. It's not always, oh my God, I spent the day in the toilet. That's not the purpose of trying to do a cleanse. That's not what we're doing. So I just wanted to touch on that, but we'll talk more about that when I get to the FAQs at the end of the presentation. Now, Rapid Cleanse is for those people that don't have the time to do the 30-day cleanse. So for whatever reason, maybe they've cleansed before. They don't want to do 30 days. Maybe they just want to, get back into shape, do a 7-day cleanse, and away you go. So this one has part 1, which you would take morning, midday, and then part 2 is a fiber supplement. Fiber helps to soak up and sweep out the toxins as they're being released from the body. So that one you would take twice a day. And then the Rapid Cleanse part 3 is the same as the part 2 of the first cleanse, where you take it at night and it helps you go to the bathroom in the morning. So that's Rapid Cleanse. So that's great for those people that just can't find the time for a longer program. Very common question I get, which one would is better. I wouldn't say, better per se, but I always believe that 30 days is the best amount of time to cleanse. When you think of the cycle of the moon or the menstrual cycle, or you think of the fact that a lot of your cells will overturn within 30 days, 30 days is the best amount of time to cleanse. But again, if you can't find the time, this is a really good option for you. So as mentioned, fiber is very, very important. It's very important every day, but especially during cleansing. So most food sources of fiber contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. So think of fiber like a sponge. The insoluble fiber would be the rough side. So it does not dissolve in water or break down in the digestive system. It provides bulk to strengthen and tone the muscles of the bowel, which is why it's very good for constipation. And it helps to sweep the walls of the bowel clean. Now, the soluble fiber would be the soft, soaking up yellow side of the sponge. It breaks down in water and forms a gel and helps trap waste for removal from the body. So this one is especially good for things like, you'll hear that it's good for diabetes, it's good for high cholesterol. That's usually the soluble fiber that's getting that. So Fiber Smart is a flax-based dietary fiber supplement to help provide fiber content to your diet and aid in overall digestive health. So this is both soluble and insoluble fiber. It's got both of those types of fiber in it. So it's got marshmallow root, slippery elm bark as well. So that's really going to help to soothe the intestinal tract as well. And it's easy to incorporate and can be used in shakes, soups, sprinkled into cereals or salads. It's a flax-based fiber, so it's got that nutty sort of flax flavor, but it also has guar gum and acacia gum as well. So it's got both the soluble and insoluble fiber. And it contains no gluten, dairy, or soy. Now for ongoing maintenance, so let's say things have gone great, you feel fabulous, and you just want to focus on your liver, because we know that liver does over 500 functions in our body. You might want to take critical liver support. This you can take up to 6 months. So this contains milk thistle seed, garlic bulb, dandelion root, artichoke leaf, turmeric, alpha lipoic acid, and acetylcysteine, vitamin C, and selenium. So it's got an unbelievable, it's such a good formula. And the reason it's such a good formula is because the woman who founded Renew Life, she had hepatitis. She had all 3 types of hepatitis. And so this formula was based on what she put together for her own issues. And so if you want good, proper liver function, I can tell you this is going to be a good product. This is a product that I love. There's a few favorite products I have, and this is definitely one of them. Now, Cleanse More is more for those people that, let's say you took either of the first cleanses that I was talking about, and you had great bowel movements, and you're like, yay, this is great. I'm on track. I feel fantastic. And you kind of just get the occasional constipation. This is something you can take as needed, or it can be taken by someone who has a little more persistent constipation. So it's a colon support formula designed to help relieve occasional constipation and promote bowel movements. So the cape aloe, rhubarb, and triphala will stimulate the smooth muscle contraction of the colon. Magnesium oxide will draw water into the intestinal tract, which provides a laxative effect. And the marshmallow root and slippery elm bark and bud have soothing properties. So it's a really good overall formula for your colon. It's non-GMO and contains no gluten, dairy, or soy. So this one can be taken as needed for occasional constipation. The other one, you would take it for the 30 days, the cleanses, the 30 days or the 7 days, but this one is more as needed when you're dealing with constipation. Now, we need to also talk about digestive enzymes. So when it comes to, breaking down your food so that your body can use it properly, digestive enzymes can be very, very helpful. And they're proteins that help break down the food that you eat and turn it into usable nutrients. So think of enzymes like a jackhammer and food as the concrete. It helps to break it down so that your body can absorb it more efficiently. When you lack digestive enzymes, food may be partially digested, which can lead to symptoms of indigestion. So gas, bloating, heartburn, constipation, belching, as well as flatulence. So when you look for digestive enzyme formula, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. The first one would be the type of enzyme. So every nutrient needs a specific enzyme to help break it down. So think of it like a specific key to unlock a door. So protease breaks down proteins, amylase breaks down carbohydrates, lipase breaks down fats, and lactase breaks down lactose. So if you're having issues with a specific type of food, every time you eat it, you get those symptoms, then you might want to look for an enzyme that has more of that enzyme in it. And then the amount of enzymes. So the quantity of enzymes, you might need more in a formula if you're having problems breaking down all meals all the time, no matter what. So Renew Life has a few formulas, but I want to just show you some enzyme magic, and it's something that you can try at home if you want. Now, I put oatmeal in both of these jars, exact same amount of oatmeal, and I put water in it. I stirred it up a bit, and I could put it upside down and it wouldn't come out. I put an enzyme in one of them. You can see it's the one on the left, and I started stirring it. And right away, it starts to liquefy. This is because the enzymes is breaking apart the bonds that hold the nutrients together. And you can see on the spoon there how different it is. So that's what enzymes do. It helps break it down so that your body can absorb your food and the nutrients from your food more easily. It doesn't stop your body from producing its own digestive enzymes or its own enzymes. It just doesn't need to produce as many digestive enzymes. So the body still makes enzymes for energy and cell repair. It just doesn't need to make as many digestive enzymes. So one of the things that I've had a lot of feedback on, and I've noticed myself, is when I do take enzymes, I find that I don't get as tired after I eat, or I have more energy. And I think it's because my body is using that extra capacity to make enzymes for that energy and cell repair, and that my body is just digesting its food more efficiently. So we have a few formulas. The first one is our Digest More Regular Strength in the green box. And these are all multi-enzyme formulas. So it's going to help digest food no matter what it is, whether it's proteins, fats, carbohydrates, fibers. It's going to help to break them down across all ranges of food. And they're plant-based enzymes as well. So the green one is ideal for sensitive stomachs because it also has a few healing ingredients in there as well. It's also good for difficulty breaking down large meals or specific foods like protein, and for gas or bloating after certain types of foods or when you combine carbohydrates with proteins. Now, if you're someone who has problems breaking down all meals all the time, you always feel full, it takes you a really long time to feel your I guess, have it exit through the stomach. This one, the Digest More Ultra Strength in the orange box, is probably best. And this is for those people that have gas, bloating, stomach upset, belching, or regurgitation after eating, regardless of food type. This is the one that I find that seniors like as well. As you age, your production of enzymes just naturally starts to decline. So I find that seniors like this formula, and it also has a lot of lipase in it, which is the enzyme that we use to break down fat. So people with no gallbladder or people that have issues breaking down fats might find that this formula would be the best one for them. And we also have an enzyme formula that contains betaine hydrochloride. So this one helps to break down your food, but it also increases the pH in your stomach. So actually it lowers the pH in your stomach. So it helps maintain healthy acidic pH levels in the stomach. So some people might have low stomach acid. This would be a good formula for them. But also it can help when you're eating out, when you're eating sushi. You want to be able to increase the acid levels in your stomach to sterilize those types of foods that you might be getting little hitchhikers come in on. So this one, you want to make sure that you take it with food and never on an empty stomach because of that betaine hydrochloride. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your gut microbiome because this is really, really important for us and for our health and overall, it affects all of our body pretty much. So the gut microbiome affects the body from birth to death. And from the time that we're in our mother's womb, healthful microbes are setting the stage for our immune systems to mature. In fact, early life imbalance has been associated with an increased incidence of allergies as well as autoimmune diseases later in life. As you grow, your gut microbiome diversifies and acquires many different types of microbial species. So what do these microbes do? Why are they so important? They're generally not harmful for us. I know when people hear about germs or bacteria, it could be in a negative connotation, but they're very, very important for us. They're essential for maintaining health, and here's just a small list of what they do. They help produce some vitamins that we don't have the genes to make. They help break down our food to extract nutrients that we need to survive. And I just want to make a note about that if you're someone that has problems with digestion and you take an enzyme and that's still not working, take your probiotic with your food. I'm one of those people, and it was my naturopath that said, take your probiotic when you eat. And it was an absolute game changer for me. So if you're one of those people, just give that a shot. Microbes also synthesize key compounds such as B vitamins and short-chain fatty acids, which is extremely important for colon health. They teach our immune systems how to distinguish dangerous invaders from innocuous compounds. So think of them like the little soldiers that kind of protect us. So when a pathogen comes in the body, they'll say, hey, you know what, this shouldn't be here. They're the ones that kind of send the messages back and forth. They help produce helpful anti-inflammatory compounds that fight off other disease-causing microbes, help improve motility, so really, really good for constipation, and they signal components of the gut-brain axis. So your gut is involved with a lot of the neurotransmitters that go back and forth to your brain. So we hear about that gut-brain connection, really, really important, and microbes are extremely important part of that. So there's certain factors that affect your microbial diversity. The first one being the type of birth. So whether you're vaginally born and you get that first dose of good bacteria through the birth canal, or whether you're cesarean born, you don't get that. And it usually takes about 6 months to establish that good bacteria. And then of course, breastfeeding versus formula fed. You know, breast milk has so many good things in it, and you've got the colostrum and the leukocytes that protect the baby. And after the first few days, when regular breast milk comes in and the leukocytes start to die down, that's great. But then as soon as either the mom or the baby gets sick, the leukocytes go way back up to 94%, which is unbelievable. You know, Mother Nature just knows what she's doing. Country of origin. I think anybody that's ever traveled can understand that sometimes the microbes in a different part of the world might not affect them very well. Diet. So there's certain foods that will help feed the good bacteria in our body, but then there's certain things that will feed the bad bacteria as well. Medication, and I'm not just talking about antibiotics. There's over 1,000 medications that can affect our microbiome. Stress has a big impact, toxicity, as we talked about earlier, and age. Again, as we age, some populations of our good bacteria start to decline, especially the bifidobacteria that are found in our large intestine. So I just want to talk about a couple of our probiotics. The first one is our core digestive wellness probiotics. We've got it in 2 strengths. It's a Daily Care 30 billion CFU and Extra Care 50 billion CFU. So there's 12 different strains in each formula, and they help to support digestive health and help reduce the frequency of constipation, flatulence, and irregularity. They also help to reduce the risk of developing upper respiratory tract illness in physically active adults. They contain Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, which is the #1 most studied probiotic strain, and they're in targeted release capsules, so it helps to survive through the stomach acid. They're in optimized bottles, so when you open the bottle, it's quite a thick bottle on the inside. It's very hard, and it's desiccant lined. So instead of having a desiccant canister or sachet in the bottle where the moisture goes through the product to get to that, the entire bottle is desiccant lined. So when you open the bottle, the moisture gets absorbed into the lining, and also it can't get in from the outside. So The bottles are not recyclable, but they are reusable. So they're really good to put herbs in if you want to, take your herbs from the garden, put them in the freezer. They're good. Let's say you want to go camping, you want to put your matches in it. Really good for that. Their quality, purity, and potency right through to expiration. So they are shelf-stable formulas. They don't need to live in the fridge, but a lot of people will choose to still put them in the fridge. That's absolutely not a problem. Whether it's in the fridge or on the shelf, it is guaranteed potent right till date of expiry. They're gluten, dairy, and soy-free formulas, and they're also non-GMO project verified. Now for women, we've got women's solutions because a lot of, when studies are done, they're not done specifically on women a lot of times. But in this case, these formulas have been studied specifically on women. So there's 2 strains that have 25 years of clinical research in feminine health in these formulas. So they help maintain, promote, and support healthy vaginal pH, yeast, urinary tract, vaginal flora, and feminine health. They can also be used in conjunction with antibiotics to help treat bacterial vaginosis. So it also helps promote regularity by reducing constipation. And of course, it's got the same great benefits as the previous formulas as well. So a lot of people will say, well, which one do I choose when? So if everything's going great and you're not having any issues with constipation, but you just kind of want to keep things on track, the Daily Care 30 billion is probably going to be okay for you. But if you find that you are having issues with constipation, flatulence, a little bit of irregularity, you might want to move on to the Extra Care probiotic. The Extra Care probiotic, the 50 billion, is by far our most popular probiotic. We used to have the Ultimate Flora Critical Care 50 billion. This kind of taken the place of that one. Now for the women, if again everything's going great, the Daily Care 25 billion, wonderful. But if you end up with a yeast infection, urinary tract infection, bacterial vaginosis, if I was dealing with a client, this is the one that I would suggest for them, the Women's Extra Care Probiotic 50 billion. Now, as I was talking about earlier, we were talking about leaky gut and how important it is to have healthy gut lining. This is what the inside of your small intestine looks like. These little microvilli are what absorb the nutrients into your body. So when this is where most of your digestion actually happens, is right here. So if it's not working properly, you're not absorbing your nutrients properly. People with IBD, so let's say they've got Crohn's or colitis or even IBS, chances are this is where the problem is happening, and they're not going to be absorbing their nutrients properly. So the intestinal gut lining plays an important role in maintaining host health, and breakdown of intestinal barrier function is known to play a role in many diseases. And here's a really good example of it. So an unhealthy digestive tract becomes very porous, and it lets undigested food, bacteria, and toxins into the blood, which can lead to a whole host of issues. So you can see that on the right-hand side. You can see that the junctions aren't tight, and you can have all those things that come through. They come past the microvilli there, and they go, into the bloodstream. And then it causes an IgG immune response, IgA reaction, and then the B and T cells release. And then we can end up with nutrient malabsorption, autoimmunity, food intolerance, blood-brain barrier breach, as well as systemic inflammation. So when you hear about leaky gut and intestinal permeability, it kind of means the same thing. So something that you can do for that is Intestinu. It's a formula used to support the integrity and healthy function of the intestinal tract lining. It's made with L-glutamine and acetylglucosamine, as well as soothing ingredients that support a healthy intestinal lining, and can be used by anyone who wishes to improve their intestinal health. So when I said there's a few products that are my favorite, I'd say this probably is the one at the top of my list. I love this one. It's helped me personally when I had leaky gut because of candida and parasites, and I've helped so many other people with this product. So it's really good. If you suspect that you might have an issue with leaky gut, then this is a product that you might want to consider. It's important to take this on an empty stomach. I know a lot of people take L-glutamine for muscle repair when they work out, but for it to work and help with leaky gut in particular, you want to take it on an empty stomach. This has 5,000 milligrams of L-glutamine, 2,000 milligrams of N-acetylglucosamine, as well as all of those other great ingredients. And it contains no gluten, dairy, or soy. Now, the omega-3s, if you're not already taking one, this is one I would highly consider. Again, as a nutritionist, I try to get people to get, most of their nutrients from food, but when it comes to fish, they can be polluted. So taking them in a supplement form is a really, really good idea. So they do so many things in our body, and they are essential because our bodies cannot produce or manufacture them on our own. So we need to be getting them from a supplement or from diet. But again, you want to make sure you're getting it from clean source. So we've got supercritical omega. It's got 1,160 milligrams of fish oil. 790 is EPA. That's the one that's really good for inflammation. And the DHA, 140 milligrams of DHA, that's the one that's good for the structure of the brain. So this is really good to help with brain function, cognitive health, as well as cardiovascular health and inflammation. And then it also has 1,000 units of vitamin D. Now, what's unique about these this line of fish oils is that they're in fish gelatin capsules. So if you're pescatarian or you don't consume bovine or porcine gelatin, this is a good option. We've got added lipase, which is that enzyme that helps your body to break down the oil to absorb it better. They're enteric coated, so it doesn't break open in the stomach too early and cause that fishy burps. It's IFOS certified for purity and potency. It's a third-party testing, and we test for everything from mercury, cadmium, lead, radioactivity, PCBs. We test for a lot of different things. You can take the lot number of the fish oil. You can go on the IFOS website, and you can see how that lot tested. It's completely transparent. And it's also Friend of the Sea certified for sustainability. So there's some ways to reduce exposure. So we talked about all the symptoms and all the things that you can do to help, but then there's other things that you can do. You can try to stay away from it as much as possible. First thing is reevaluate your morning routine. Look at those things that have those ingredients that you just cannot pronounce. Eliminate toxic household products. So go room to room, go cupboard to cupboard. Don't overwhelm yourself all at once. It can be very daunting if you decide to throw everything out and then you're sitting in the corner rocking going, oh my God, what do I do now? Just do it, cupboard by cupboard. I'm telling you from experience. Clean out your kitchen cupboards. So I think, a lot of cupboards might look like this. Look at the ingredients. Again, if they're not natural, if they're not supposed to be in our bodies, if you can't pronounce them, if it's full of, dyes and preservatives and those things, it probably shouldn't be in your body. Or if you do it in moderation. And then eat detoxifying foods. There's lots of great foods out there that can actually help your body and help improve a cleanse too. And again, think of those fruits and vegetables that they've got a lot of polyphenols and vitamins and minerals that can support your body. The environmental working group, as I mentioned, they're good. They've got a sunscreen guide. They've got when I talked about the pardon me, the Skin Deep database, that's them. But they also do the Dirty 12 or the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So if you cannot buy certain things organic, just look at this list. If it's on the Clean 15, you could probably get away with it. If it's on the Dirty Dozen, I would not eat it. So strawberries tested positive for 22 chemicals again last year. Top the list, strawberries, the worst. Spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, bell and hot peppers, cherries, peaches, pears, celery, tomatoes. So if you're not buying them at Nature's Fair and you're somewhere else, I would avoid them if they're not organic. Switch to non-toxic cooking and storageware. So again, there's a lot of BPA and plastics. You want to stay away from that. Use water filters or spring water. There's a great website called findaspring.com where you can take your own containers and you can fill them up yourself. That's what I do in Ontario here. You can use certain plants to help filter your air. So there's lots of, spider plants and those types of things that can really help. Plant an organic garden. If you don't have the space on your property, think of a tower garden or a wall garden. So there's different things that we can do, or just even grow herbs in your windowsill. And this is one that takes a little bit of practice. Get rid of toxic thoughts and toxic people in your life. This can actually cause a lot of problems too. When you find negative self-sabotaging thoughts creeping in, recognize the pattern. So recognize, okay, I'm, I'm talking bad about myself, or, I'm being really negative. Stop. And stop can be one of those words that carries a lot of negative connotation behind it. So maybe it's just pause, just pause. Choose to do something different. Choose that you're not going to go down that path. Shift your attention. Maybe it's, okay, I'm sitting in my chair. I can feel my feet on the ground. I can feel my butt in my seat. Just shift your attention away. And then positive reinforcement would be things like, good, good. I'm so glad that I noticed that and I was able to shift my behavior. And then the toxic people, again, it can be very difficult sometimes, but you if you can, try to let those people drift as much as you can. So here's some frequently asked questions about cleansing. What if I experience nausea, headaches, or diarrhea? Again, as I mentioned, it could be normal at first. Increase your water, increase your fiber, start at half strength for the first few days. But if you do get sick while you're cleansing, stop cleansing. Definitely should not be cleansing when you're sick. Do I need to follow a specific diet for the full body cleanses? Ideally, you don't have to, but it depends on what you're eating in the first place. If you're eating a lot of junk, you're smoking, you're drinking, you want to cut that stuff out. Do I need to take time off work? No. Again, it depends on how toxic you are. Starting off at half strength is going to ease you into it. Do I need to be close to the bathroom? It depends on what your bathroom habits are now. You might experience that you're going to go to the bathroom a bit more, which is fantastic. That's what you want to do, especially while you're cleansing. But you should not have to be in the bathroom all day long. Are cleanses safe for people on medication? It depends on the medication. So certainly consult a healthcare practitioner, pharmacist. They can tell you if there's going to be any contraindications. If you are allowed to go ahead with it, then take it 2 to 3 hours away from your medication, and also take it 2 to 3 hours away from other supplements. Can I cleanse if I'm pregnant? No. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you absolutely cannot, because you don't want to recycle those toxins into the baby. Is it bad to stop cleansing halfway through a kit? No. Again, there could be something stressful that comes up in your life. You might get sick. There might be some reason that you have to stop. Just stop the cleanse, no problem. Pick it up when you're ready again. If you've had some sort of illness, or if you've had to have surgery, consult your healthcare practitioner before you start up again. If I take a fiber supplement, when should I take it? You don't want to take it at the exact same moment as your cleanse. Take it 2 to 3 hours away, because you don't want it to, again, soak up or sweep out the ingredients in the cleanse. Can I keep taking my other supplements while cleansing? Absolutely. You want to support your body through a cleanse as much as possible. It's going to take a little bit more energy to go through a cleanse, so you want to support your body as much as you can. And can I cleanse more than once a year? Yep. Spring and fall tends to be the most popular times for cleansing. So why choose Renew Life? We've got award-winning products. We've got great quality testing, unique formulas, potent formulas. We have a 60-day money-back guarantee for our probiotics. So if you can just try it with confidence, if you're not quite sure, if you want to try a shelf-stable formula, this is a great thing to have, to know that we've got a 60-day money-back guarantee. And we're also digestive care experts. We're not everything to everybody, but we know a lot about digestive care. So the human body wants to be in homeostasis. It wants to be healthy. Support it with the right nutrients, water, exercise, supplements, rest, and play, and it will cleanse, reconstruct, and keep you safe. Thank you. Okay, we got through it. I'm so sorry. We're 3 minutes over.
All good. Am I frozen?
Yes, you are.
Okay, try that again. So thank you everybody so much for being here with us tonight. We will leave the chat room open here for some questions. Currently, there aren't any in the chat. So if you're thinking of one right now or typing away, please feel free to put that in there. I know the slide on the enzymes always blows my mind. Like, it is so cool to see what that can do just to help break down that little bit of oats. So just to think what it can do for our own digestion is incredible. Wendy just asked, how do we know if you have parasites? How can you get tested for that, or how do you find out?
There's certain symptoms that will, I think the most common one is that you get diarrhea. That's a big one, or you feel nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you can get stool testing done. There's certain labs that will do it. You can talk to your doctor or a homeopath or a naturopath. There's different ways. So for me, I did go through that route and they couldn't find it. But my homeopath did, because she did electrodermal testing. So certain types of biofeedback can tell if the frequency is present. Everything has a certain frequency. And so that's the way that I end up finding out that I had it. Now, I was very symptomatic. I was vomiting and diarrhea. Like, there was no question I had parasites. My sister, who came with me for moral support, thought, oh, that looks kind of cool. I think I'll try it. And she did the electrodermal testing. I had 5, she had 7, but she had 0 symptoms because her immune system was stronger than mine. She worked in a daycare. She's used to germs. She's used to a stronger immune system because of her environment. I had just changed my job and I was under a lot of stress for multiple reasons. And so my immune system was shot. So the parasite's just like, hey, this is a great place for me to live. So that's, so there's different ways, and it really depends on the parasite as well. Some people have parasites that can live in them for years, and they can be dormant until your immune system's suppressed or something happens, and then all of a sudden, let's say you visited, it happened to my brother-in-law, he visited South Africa and he was working in a water treatment plant, and it wasn't until years later that he showed the symptoms of this particular parasite that was found in that region. And again, so I would say stool testing, if it's in your blood, you could find it in the blood. But electrodermal testing kind of tests the entire body. So if you've got a holistic practitioner that does that, that's a great way to do it.
Okay, good. Yeah, very interesting. There's been another question about if you should be diagnosed with leaky gut before considering taking intestinal.
You know what? It's funny. Doctors are just starting to talk about leaky gut, and I'm talking like mainstream medical doctors. I know that in our field, in the natural health side of things, I've known about it for close to 20 years. So you don't need to take that product. You don't need to. The cells in your intestinal tract replace themselves every 3 to 5 days. So this is a product that can just help your body to do that. Whether you know you have it or you don't, it's not going to hurt you to take it unless you are truly allergic to one of the ingredients.
Okay. That is good to know. If you are someone who has had your gallbladder removed, can you use the cleanse kits?
There's going to be a strong focus on the liver, which is going to send more bile to the gallbladder. So I would definitely consult your healthcare practitioner first, and I would only do it at half strength. If you get the okay, then just do it at half strength. You don't want to overload your liver, and your gallbladder's not there. What's going to happen is it could create loose stools because your gallbladder's not concentrating that bile and then sending it slowly into the colon. It could just create loose stools. That would probably be the symptom that would happen.
Okay. And then if you are someone who follows a low carb diet and you don't really eat any wheat or grains, we were recommending obviously complementing the fiber supplement in your regular routine along with when you are cleansing. Do you have to take a fiber supplement if that's not something that's part of your lifestyle?
No, but again, you're flooding your body with a few more toxins. So I would suggest, like, if you're eating a lot of like fibrous foods already, then you could probably get away without it. but it wouldn't hurt you to take extra fiber, even if it's ground flaxseed or it's chia seed or something like that. Something that you have, like if you're not doing the grains, but you're doing the seeds, there's other ways that you can get fiber. I would say during a cleanse, always increase your fiber, because that's the quickest way to not feel so great is if you're not getting rid of the toxins and they're recirculating. The symptoms you're going to get, one of the most common is headache. I would say that is probably the number one that we hear about. And sometimes you just get like flu-like symptoms, like you just feel kind of poopy.
Yeah. I think that, like you talked about how the fiber really acts as like a sponge, right? So people need to think about like not only just the cleansing aspect, but like what's going to collect it and get it out of your body.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle choices that you can make around that too, just the extra water, all the goodness. Well, one final question, and then we're going to wrap it up so that everybody can get on with their evening and home to bed. What, again, was the website for chemicals? I know you've mentioned it was a US site, but that people can search.
Oh, it's Environmental Working Group. So EWG.org, environmentalworkinggroup.org. So they have like sunscreen. And so this is one thing I love about EWG is that they petition the government. Like it's a US company, so they are always going after like the chemicals that are in products and trying to get things changed fundamentally from like a government side of things. They're always advocating. So they've got a lot of different databases, and the newest one is like the long-term chemicals that are being found in the environment that last like a really long time. So they've got tons of stuff. I get emails from them almost every day. They're
very
great.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for hanging in there with us tonight as we figured out the technology. And we really look forward to hopefully hearing in store about your experience. Maybe you're going to do a spring cleanse and a fall cleanse this year, or just adding a little bit more fiber into your life. Our newest Good Life magazine just would be in your inbox or your local store. And the whole issue is about spring and cleansing and culling the chaos and looking at that part of your life. So take a look there. And again, it's our Wellness Days sale, March 9th through 11th, the store-wide 15% off, and Renew Life's cleanse product is a door crasher, so watch for that. Caroline, thank you again for your information tonight. It was super informative, and this completes our store tour and webinar tour, and we hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you, and thanks, guys, for your patience with the problems we had earlier. I appreciate it.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.